What's up? What's going on to my YouTube family? What's going on? You are on Clyde, Yorkshire. Peace and blessings, and welcome back to the show. We're here, we're live, and we want to say thank you to everybody who's in the building. Thank you. Please make sure you like and subscribe and show your boy some love. You guys know how the government do me, the shadow banning, and all of the unfortunate community guidelines that they impose upon people who are uh, not part of the machine or who are not negative. We seem to get a bad rap. Ladies and gentlemen, greeting. I am Clyde Yorkshire. This is my latest book. Part two drops this year. We've worked and worked on it, and we've taken time, and people have been sending wonderful messages. It's available on Amazon, Audible, and Kindle. A wonderful sci-fi story, great holiday gift, a great read. There's been lots of thought that was placed into this book. Black Women Rings Around Saturn. Black Women Rings Around Saturn. Available on Amazon, Audible, and Kindle. Shout out to my MAGA crew. So tonight we're going to be talking about the U.S. old Cold War strategy, how it has impacted America in a very negative way. We're going to talk a little bit about how this old strategy has really hurt mainly Black women who the system has sold itself to as something you can rely on. But those of us who know economy, those of us who know foreign policy, and those of us who understand how the world actually work, we realize that America's strategy has to change. It is not able to perform and to render the uh, results that they are supposedly trying to convey. Again, Black women and of America have unfortunately, along with our leadership, including the Black Church and the Black Democratic Caucus, there is a power shift that is happening in the Black community. There are no longer, respectfully, the same leaders who are going to be taking the control over the Black community. Many people don't want this to happen, but it is going to happen. The Black community have been due for a very long time for a new change and a regime change from the old Black church and the old Democratic Party. We can never, ever come together, if any, that these two parties, the Black Democratic Caucus and the Black Church, has not been updated or perhaps even uh, taken out of power. They are running against an old system, much as America is pushing the old Cold War story, using the media to send out disinformation, the fake news, and keep the American people thinking one thing, and the reality that is happening around the world tells us a very different story. I like to say shout out to everybody coming in. Rockstar Gaming, what's going on with you? You're on Clyde, Yorkshire. Please make sure you like and subscribe. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about the old Cold War that is not working. What we're going to demonstrate to you is what African Americans on the right side, how we talk. We're not talking the same usual that the Democrats force us into. We're not talking the same narratives that the good old Black church has lined up for us. We're not talking the old strategy that the Democratic Party has lined up for us. Those days are over. We are moving forward, and we're going to rescue the children out of the hands of these persons who are completely lost and bewildered. There's 13 people in the building. Make sure you like and subscribe. You're on Clyde, Yorkshire. We're simultaneously broadcasting on Facebook. Make sure everybody like and subscribe. I'm going to demonstrate to anybody who's watching for the first time and who are residual watchers and even relatives how Black Americans under the Republican and conservative MAGA banner how we educate and what is our plan, not only for this country, but for African Americans, how we're going to make the changes. And while we need America, we need white folks, we need indigenous Hispanics to back and support Black Americans who are on the right side of history. And again, the old grand party, if you will, is live and in effect. So let's talk about how America has felt fallen behind. Most people who are educated would know that the growth rate for over a decade of America averages about 2.8%. Listen to this. And the average Russian growth is 3.9%. The average Chinese growth just about doubles the American growth, and that is 4.8%. Okay. The average Indian growth is almost triple, 7.0%. The world has changed. And programs and organizations like BRICS have come in and shown America to be an old relic that is falling away, much like the Greeks, much like the Romans, much like the Athenians and the old British Empire. America must take precautions to prepare ourselves for the changes that will happen. Black Americans, the reason why this is very important for you, because you are going to be left behind. Indians have making preparations for their people, Russians, Chinese, even Latin Americans. But our old grand old church, our old Democratic Party are still lingering around under foolish pretense, following behind a dying narrative, the old Cold War story, Russia's the enemy. Thank God for President Donald Trump, who understands what will make America great again and how America must make different changes. Let's take a look at some of the comments. Rockstar says, Playboy card 2028. That's what's up. Who else we got there? We got Rodriguez says, what's up? Mason Smith, what's going on, guys? Check this out. We got a good show for you. So then we just went over the rate of how America is growing, meaning our economy is only moving 2.8%. And this is America, right? Now, this is with us having the dollar and the Federal Reserve as an international bank, right? Now, again, when is the last time you turned on your television and you heard Black American women speaking this way? They're not equipped to understand these issues at this time because of the control of the Democratic Party and the control of the Black church. Have our women talking about gay rights and talking about abortions and talking about racism on the right, and they're not talking about the issues that matter most to Americans and to the Black community. And this is why we had to come in. Persons like Candace Owens and others who are very equipped to deal with these issues. Now, let's get down to the old Cold War strategy, how it's not working. Now, just so you know, to get started with, ladies and gentlemen, this is no endorsement of foreign governments. This is only to tell you what the fake news media will not tell you. Unfortunately, I, as an American, have to listen to Algeria News. I have to listen to First Post. I have to listen to We On News, French 24, BBC World News. These are all foreign news networks because the ABC, CNNs of the world are distorting the truth about what is really going on in our world. So while we're watching television, while we're sitting up in here arguing with each other in relationships and pushing the old Black woman power network story, the reality is that America is falling away and everything in it. And if we as a Black community are going to survive as this world power comes to its end, unfortunately, our hegemony is at its end. The numbers, any real economist, any real true American needs to realize, what can we do to make this crash landing not terrible, right? So let's get down to this. Now, America's predictions have failed. They predict that they can continue this old Israel story, and the rest of the world has moved on from Israel. This God's people story. Now, this is not to knock the Jews. What this is doing is showing you that the people who have been capsulated in America, the people who have been under, unfortunately, iron fist of the American narrative and the historians and the fake news media are pushing an Israel story. If you look at Europe, Europe have arrest warrants for Benjamin Netanyahu. The Rome court, which all roads lead to Rome, have issued a warrant for Benjamin Netanyahu and some of the Jewish participants in Israel. Now, the employee class, the employer class, is a dictatorship in America that relegates its subjects or citizens and taxpayers to a never ending cyclone, an escalator of work, paying off car loans, paying off mortgages, and working yourself to death. And you, your grandparents, and your great grandparents have to wait and ask for permission to go to the bathroom, ask for permission to take a vacation. We have been used. Meanwhile, foreigners who have a specific goal in mind are coming here, opening up businesses. They're coming here with or without a social security card and getting cars, getting homes, getting apartments. They realize what we have not realized as Black Americans under the Black church and the Black democratic power structure, which is really running America. Now, many Black people in America didn't know that your leaders were the Black church. They're not just your worship organizations. These are your political powerhouses who have control over you. Now, just imagine if Black people had to break away from the old American system. They think that we're going to go into another realm of freedom, another realm of sovereignty under the guise of the Black church and under the guise of the Democratic Party. You got us totally fucked up. Okay, those institutions, there's nothing wrong with them. We have no hate against them, but you do not control Black people. And Black people, specifically Black women, need to get that out of your head. Democrats do not control the Black community. The Black church does not control us. Somebody misinformed you. Black folks are controlled by God and Black folks. That's what that is. Let's see what they said. It says, homie, don't have a clue. You actually don't have a clue, and I'm about to educate you because you need to be educated. You one of them Negroes who just don't get it. Now let's talk about GDP. How many Negroes out there know what GDP is? How many college educated? And see, again, this is the scary part about it is America has given out college degrees. They have given out fake news narratives and having Black people believe that they have made it and successful because you carry one of these local community certificates on your wall that you know what's going on. But again, when we ask any of them about farming, germination, horticulture, agriculture, foreign policies, we ask them about wealth, dietary. These people look at you like you speaking another language, but you sitting up there with a PhD, you sitting up there with a bachelor's degree, you sitting up there with a master's or associate's degree, and you have no clue what is going on in the world. You probably have no passport. You probably have never traveled. You've never had a foreign currency in your hand. And again, this is the old plantation mindset of old, out of date Black Americans who are fading fast. Their health is failing. Their mindset, their software is failing. This is why we are the future, and we are the ones who are going to deliver young Black people out of the generational curses that we're in. Now, let's talk the gross domestic product. America's economy or gross domestic product is about $30 trillion a year. Now, again, this might be over your head, and that's good. Russia GDP is about $2 trillion. Okay. China, in the shortest span of time, have made history out of all countries in a short period of time. We were just talking about these people are working in sweatshops. Their GDP is $18 trillion. Now, with the BRICS, between Russia, China, India, and South Africa, they make up our entire GDP. Meaning there are no more sanctions and tariffs that we can afford to put on the world without them dropping our dollar, dropping our debt, and just completely moving on to a different currency. And you will begin to see our roads, our tunnels, our bridges, and everything skyrocket. Inflation overnight. A loaf of bread will be $18,000. Americans are not educated. This is not what Black Americans do. We don't teach our children to have a constitution or read the Constitution. We don't teach wealth. We don't teach finance. We teach church and obedience to Jesus. And just so you understand, India have obedience to God, but their economy is growing. China has obedience to God, but their economy is growing. Koreans have obedience to God. Nigerians, everybody has obedience to God. However, they're moving their people forward with more than one language. They're moving their people forward with dual citizenship. Black American Church and the Black American Democratic Party, the caucus, have failed Black Americans. All of you so-called Freemans, all your sororities and Greek-lettered organizations and Alpha and all this other kind of stuff, you have failed Black Americans. And you think that we're not educated enough to know this. You are the one perpetuating the generational curses, and we are going to deliver you. How does America keep Black Americans and Americans, white and other, in slave chains? We continue to push interest rates to make up for the money we're sending to Ukraine, to make up for the money we're sending to Israel. We're going to charge each American a higher interest rate to put that money back into FEMA. Damn, that nigga educated. Oh, what, you thought I was joking? You thought now you see why I'm the black sheep? Because I'm delivering you from the ignorance of the elder class who don't even understand where they live at. They've never had a passport. They've never understood farming. They don't understand acreage. They don't understand foreign policy. They don't understand the issues that are happening in the United States of America. They are only sacrificing their children and leaving us to slave and pick the figurative cotton of the next 20, 30 years because of their ignorance and because they are complicit and because they do not get how the world has changed. Do America need a central bank? Does America need a central bank? The last time an American president, a Republican at that, chose to fix America, only thing that they did was put into effect a different strategy. America refused to get out of its same old taxing the hell out of you, sending money to Israel, and keeping wars going. This old tired plan has destroyed America. And they've sold a fake narrative to black women that we will forever prop you up as long as you work with us and do not work with black American men. They are not your leaders. We are. The Jewish lobby on the left has failed black American women who are the sponsors of black American women education, black American women jobs. They are the Jewish lobby are the sponsors of black American women's ideology and their religious regiments. Okay, I'm educating y'all for what you don't know. We're pulling the curtain back, and finally, as you move forward tomorrow, you will begin to understand what is actually going on in America. Now, they keep us locked into slavery using interest rates, tax, and insurance. They insurance everything that you have from your car to your phone. These are all taxes to continue to sift money out of the American people's paycheck to pay for all of these adventurous, crazy escapades that the old American narrative, like Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Barack Obama, keeps taking us down a never ending story. Americans are tired of it. You saw what happened with Luigi and these huge corporations and healthcare programs and housing projects and you just name it. They're taking advantage of the American people. The West is not willing to come to terms. Its allies that they talk about, such as NATO, have failed. NATO was receiving the cheapest gas that they could have ever received, which empowered countries like Germany and Italy to be top runners in the GDP. Once they destroyed and put tariffs on Russia, thinking that it would hurt them in the old Cold War days, Russia just went to BRICS and said, listen, I'll sell you my oil. Forget Europe and what they're doing. And this thing boosts Russia. No one needs the United States the way that they used to. And if any American feels sad about this, you're not a real American because you're not trying to help your people get out of this destructive path that we've been plunged into. America needs a president that's a visionary, that is willing to try new things, just like Nixon. Nixon used the wage price freeze. That way, you don't have to keep taxing America, keep borrowing from the IMF, keep borrowing from the financial bank institutions and the international bankers. Again, it seems like to maybe some Black American women, I don't even understand what he's saying, of course, because you've been played with your degrees. The American narrative have taken advantage of you and made you think that you was in a power seat, and you have done nothing to empower your community and change the reality of most Black Americans. We are chasing after liberty like someone sitting on the back of a turtle holding a carrot in front of it. The turtle will continue to walk chasing a carrot that it will never catch. And our college degrees, our jobs and our apartments and the things that we share in America under a dollar, which is backed by a hegemony and a petrodollar, unfortunately, have come to an end. Countries like Saudi Arabia, who made our petrodollar possible, have now decided to go with BRICS. Countries like India, South America, Algeria, Brazil, Dubai, uh, several African nations such as South Africa, Nigeria, Ethiopia, and the world has changed. It is only America who is laundering around in the bowels of waste and in the sewerage of the Israel narrative. Israel is in the Bible. Israel is the one we have to protect. Israel, Israel, Israel. That is American story every single day. It's American story against Syria. It's American story against Europe. It's the American story against Libya. It's the American story against Iran. Israel, 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 Israel. Meanwhile, millions and hundreds and thousands of innocent grandmothers, children, doctors, lawyers, innocent boys and girls are being murdered by the duo of America and its allies, such as Israel. The American people are blinded, ignorant, and very, very slow to realize that we need to put ourselves first. Are we saying that Jewish people are bad? Of course not. But are we saying Americans are bad? Of course not. But it is our ran down, rinky dink government that has taken advantage of us and the rest of the world. If America is going to face a reality and move forward and protect its future, it has to make the necessary changes immediately. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to do your own research and to educate yourself to what is really going on. I suggest not looking at American news and looking at news outside of this country to learn the truth about what is happening in Ukraine, to learn the truth is what about what is happening in Gaza, to learn the truth what is happening to our GDP, our interest rates, our military, to learn the truth about what states are really doing and really working on. America have blinded its own citizens, and we are okay with that strategy. America is a failed state that needs to be basically revived by the American people. We are a great nation. There is nothing we cannot do as Americans. Blacks and whites must come together and stop talking about race, stop talking about divisions and picking cotton and Martin Luther King's dream. And we must come together and put together a comprehensive program that makes all of us better off tomorrow, not leaving our children with debt, not working the American people to their bone and telling them that they can retire with no pension anywhere in sight. So they have to work until they're 70. This is not helping Americans. Both black and white must come together as we did in the past, and we must protect our country and our flag, and we must protect our land. We are the greatest nation that God has ever created, and we must make America great again. We must get rid of race in our institutions, such as our school. We must keep the church, not just the black church, but we must keep the church of Jesus Christ active and functioning in this country, not letting these quote unquote religious organizations that seeming to be religious, but every chance they get, they want to remove God out of the school, off of our money, and off of our mind, offering us sexuality, homosexuality, miseducating our children, trying to give sexual advice and sexual operations to our children, and having our sisters back up this program in the name of abortions and women's rights. This is a disgusting movement that has swept over America, just like the devil swept over this world once he was thrown out of heaven. However, we as Americans will come together. We will succeed, both black and white, both red and yellow. To our Hispanics and Native Americans, you are welcome in this country. You are loved. You have worked hard to provide a future and a world for your children. And may you always be mentioned in the American story. We have a beautiful flag that stands for peace, justice, equality, sovereignty, and the protection of all people. May we continue to use that and not let these corrupt entities which have taken power and went left. The Democratic Party, the liberal left, Washington, D.C., the liberal black church, the media, networks have come together, social media, and created a cabal, a web party that they themselves have fallen victim to. Their morals have declined, their goals, and even their visions for this country, they have accepted filth. I am here to tell you, as a Black American, we love this country, we love our flag, and we do not, I repeat, we do not allow the Democratic Party, we do not allow the Black church to rule over us. These are both institutions that have taken control over the Black community during slavery. They've cemented their power over us, and they use sections and fractions of us. The federal government has continued to empower Black women while destroying Black men in every graveyard, every jailhouse, continuing to remove jobs and factories out of our neighborhood simultaneously while putting our women into power and having them say out of their own mouth that they've completed this on their own, much like rappers, comedians, and others who have to bow down to the deep state and give up something, whether it's a dead relative or put on a skirt or some other blood sacrifice. Black American women have come under these same chains where they are controlled by lobbyists, They're controlled by powerful donors and corporations that is older than their institutions. They're black Baphomet and freedmen and Omegas and all this other kind of stuff that they represent have been corrupted and taken advantage of, such as the black church. We are going to move our nation forward. We will no longer, as black people, with the help of the American people, we are done with race. We are done talking color. And all we are talking about is red, white, and blue. My daughters, my sons, your daughters, your sons are going to inherit America where they can be in the gas stations and owning and operating McDonald's and Chick-fil-A's and and Jack in the Boxes. We are no longer going to send our children to school just to get a degree, just to go become a social worker, or just go to become some security guard or some manager and working in a never-ending story of a country that is taking from the American people, shipping our dollars off to foreign lands to rebuild and pull coups on country and basically rebuild in other nations. Meanwhile, our tolls, tunnels, bridges, our ghettos, our towns, our counties, our police officers, our first responders, our children are lagging. Our schools are trash, and we are in the greatest country of all times. Our airports look like shit. Our sewer systems, our ghettos, our homelessness. This is ridiculous. And the black church have done nothing but shift the same old Al Sharpton rhetoric, the same old Jesse Jackson narrative, the same old Negro spiritual rhetoric. We cannot see that we are sick as black people under these two institutions. Ask yourself, if they were removed or their power was taken away, where would America go? Where would we have been? And I'm asking all nations, whether you're Japanese, Chinese, Arab, white, please help us as we grow. Please help to fund us and support us to take control and reins. The black community is a beautiful community, but under the Democratic Party, under the black church, all we have done was hate our neighbors, whether you're in Africa. We hate our neighbors, whether you're on the right side of things or you're conservative. We hate our neighbors if you're white. And we do it in the name of Jesus. We do it in a race card way, in a reverse bigoted way. And again, we are very intelligent on the right side. We are very knowledgeable of our Constitution and our laws. That is why I'm running for Congress. That is why I study law. And that is why I believe in the rule of law. It is the power that will propel us to a greater America. Thank you for your time, and God bless you.